Oh, there we are. Hello, assalamu alaikum, everybody. Today,
Assalamualaikum.
we're on our weekly live webinar broadcast show with Holistic Mom MD and Yvonne from My Hello Kitchen. Today, we are going to talk about very healthy things you can do for your Eid gatherings, right? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure the headphones are working. So today we're going to talk about whether you're having a party, social distancing, or just with your families, but we want everybody to get healthy this time, right? If you're going to have a party, we want it to be super healthy, great foods, healing foods, immune boosting foods, and you can do this. She cooks for 8 people every day.
I do.
And look at the festive background she's got going on. Whereas I am just like, farmhouse girl over here going, I've just picked some stuff from my balcony garden.
No, that's huge. And I think it shows the beauty of it. Nothing really matters. There's so many different types of Eid that are out there. It's all,
especially in America where, people are living in so many different ways, different styles, urban, suburban, rural. And, I'm a country girl at heart. I like the quiet places, the villages, the small things. And, my Eids in the past, 10 years have always been very kind of down to earth, homey, slow cooked foods and, things from my garden as much as I can, and so, everybody's different, but we do it the way we want, right? That's the beauty of it.
That is the beauty.
For those of you who don't know, we have a holiday called Eid al-Adha coming up. I believe in the U.S. it will be this Friday.
Next Friday.
That's right, the 31st of July. And one of the most popular meats that are served in this holiday is lamb, because the animals are sacrificed for this Eid. And so a lot of times you will get really fresh lamb to cook with. So we're going to talk about cooking that today. I know that people ask a lot of questions about lamb in general and how to cook it. Some people think they don't like it, but I'm here to prove to you that you can like it. It depends on how you cook it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And this is a time of celebration. It's a time for all of us to get together. Usually this Eid marks the end of one of our really huge annual events that happens globally, and that's called Hajj.
Exactly.
But sadly, we, because of everything that's going on, that's not going to happen this year. But we can still celebrate, have fun, and it gives us actually more of a chance to really focus on our immune systems. Yay!
Yes, immune system, immune boosting. As you're talking, I'm making my lindenberry tea, my ihlamur that I bring back. Instead of coffee, I am going with this. It's from the linden tree, and I don't know if people can see it. I have a blog post on my website about this, and it's a lot of times people drink it, I think, in the winter because it's more for if you have a cold or flu. It's kind of like nature's Theraflu, I think. And I don't have that right now. I'm fine, but I just I love the taste and the smell. And you cook it and add some lemon and honey, and it's a nice herbal. No caffeine. So as we're talking, I'm making that, letting mine brew.
Oh my gosh, delicious. So tell me, Yvonne, so what do you got going on there?
So
what are you planning on doing for Eid?
Well, I'm doing lamb for sure, right?
So are we.
Yeah, I have a couple recipes that I tell people about on my website. You can look these recipes up, you guys. One is called the Italian lamb stew, and basically it's chunks of lamb cooked with red peppers and onions, and it's just a slow cooked over the fire. I'm not going to show that recipe now. Mm-hmm. I have another recipe where I'm going to pull out my lentil soup. I don't know, you won't really be able to see too much of it, but it's this is lentil soup with this is just the basic lentil soup I make, and it has lots of turmeric in it and cumin and lots of great spices. I don't have enough room for this over here.
And we talked about the importance of spices, how spices are one of the most powerful things that can optimize and boost your immune system.
Right. And lentils are great for protein. So if you want to make something like that, I mean, that's sort of that's not the fancy part of it. I actually make that soup, but I add lamb to it. So I saute freshly chopped lamb and then, cook it down, saute it, and then add the lentils. So it's called lamb and lentil udhia stew. And that's also on my website. So I'm not showing those recipes, but I'm going to show a few other things. I'm going to show a marinade with yogurt, how to make a marinade with yogurt, how to make a marinade with just olive oil and a few other ingredients. I'm also going to talk about a salad dressing that you guys can make. It's really simple. But because a lot of times when I go to parties, I don't see enough salads or vegetables. And I think if we serve more of them, people will eat them, but you have to give that option. I mean, you don't have to do anything, but I'm saying I would feel like a lot healthier because a lot of times party foods tend to be just so unhealthy and kind of like lots of junk food, especially for the kids. But, if you're going to have a chunk of meat, have lots of vegetables with it. Right?
Lots and lots of vegetables. That's so important.
Right. I really feel like, I want to see more greenery at people's parties this year. I mean, maybe we should ask everybody to show us their pictures of their parties.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Healthy party foods.
Healthy party foods, you guys. Yeah. Let's work on it.
Yes. I really feel like I want to see more of that. And so I can get started whenever you guys want, but
no, let's go ahead. Let's just dive right in because I know I got a lot of stuff going on that where you can still enjoy, but not give in to the sugar and the grains and the junk. Okay. So let's go ahead and start with you, Yvonne. Let's see what's going on with you because remember, it all starts with the protein and the salad. That is the most important. The healthy fats, all super important because remember, whenever you focus on food, even in the holidays, you want to focus on your vegetables, clean protein, and healthy fats. Super gut healing to balance those insulin levels, to lower your inflammation overall. So therefore, we're not living in a world of hyperinflammation because if our bodies are hyper resilient or actually hyper inflamed, then it actually decreases our resilience. So we got to make sure that even despite the holidays, we still got to take care of this gift that God gave us, and that's our bodies and our health.
Exactly. And, people get intimidated by salads or they say, oh, people just throw them away. And so, but, if you make them pretty and you make them appetizing and you make a really nice dressing, people will really like them. And I think also, don't buy salad dressings. Never buy salad dressings. You don't have to. They are so easy to make. And the bottled stuff has lots of sugar and sodium and
then the canola oil and all those GMOs and so many oils that you do not want in your body that are all inflammatory. So here we think we're doing a good job, but then we are sort of
we're in trouble.
We're in trouble.
So this salad. So I'm just taking a very typical salad mix, but I would encourage all of you to do the weeds, right? Dandelion greens, any kind of
super detoxifying, you guys. Dandelion greens, amazing, delicious.
And you can they're never gonna usually be in the spring salad mix box. You're gonna have to find those separately, but they're out there. In Turkey, we get them at the market. People just sell their weeds from the yard, and it's amazing because it's really inexpensive and they're so abundant and so detoxifying, like you said. So if you can find them at any market in the world, grab them and put them on your salad. They're a little bitter, but you mix them in with other salad greens in it and it's fine. Okay, so my first one is this dressing. Now, in my cookbook, my Hello Kitchen cookbook, I have a recipe for homemade mayonnaise. So instead of the kind from the store that has lots of fillers and stuff, you just make your own with eggs. And it's great. I mean, it's packed with protein instead of fat, and you can put your own olive oil in it and so on. But if you don't have time and you use a store-bought one, just watch the ingredients. But that's sort of our creaminess that's going in here. Mm-hmm. So we're having this. I'm going to add a little bit of this pomegranate molasses. Again, there's no sugar added. It's just pure pomegranate syrup. Okay, so it's natural sweetness. Mm-hmm. This is I just made this up, and it's a great recipe. I love it.
Delicious.
A squeeze of lemon. Okay. And then some pepper, black pepper, and Himalayan salt. This is the pink salt. I get big bags of this stuff. Pink salt. And then your fat, you need, I would use my Turkish baking olive oil that we sell in our store. Yeah, I'm out of it because I use all of it. Everywhere I used it. So I'm going to use something else. This is the pistachio oil. Anything that you don't want to cook. So this is the time to use your extra virgin olive oils. Any oils that you don't want to heat up, right? And then just whisk it together, and you can make large batches of this, and you can also thin it out with more lemon juice and oil. So you just play with it. And this is really thick, so I'm going to add some more lemon juice to it. And that's really going to thin it out because I really don't want to add more oil. It might be a little tart, but you just taste it. Just taste and go and taste and go and taste and go. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can see, but it's beautiful. It's a really nice texture. Let me get a spoon. If I have one around here. I know I did. Anyway, there it is. And so I'll just spoon that onto this. See, the texture is really nice. And I'll just, drizzle that onto the salad. It's great. And one other thing that I do is I soak some almonds overnight just to get them a little bit softer and plump. So I do this to make my almond milk. But for the salad, what's great is that small spaces. So working within a small space. So for the salad, I'm just going to take a few of these and chop them up or slice them up, however you want them to be. But they're really nice. It gives the salad some texture, and then people feel like they've eaten something, right? Whenever the salad has some texture to it, they feel like, oh, that was tasty. That was almost like, filling. So you don't want to fill them up too much if you got a lot of other food, but it also makes it really, really pretty. So add whatever you want to this, cucumbers. I personally don't like tomatoes on a salad, but you can do whatever you want. This is your salad, but this is just a very simple idea. And I didn't drench the salad in that dressing. It's just very, mild here, but you can tell. So you can add more if you want, but again, that dressing kind of goes a long way, and it's really tasty. So that's one of my recipes, Medea. What do you think? Where did she go? Medea? There you are.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. You guys, all those colors, all those phytonutrients, all of those beautiful, beautiful colors are all super important for optimizing your immune system. So I really feel that if we start off with a salad, even though people don't really want to go to the salad, but if you start off with a salad, then you're like actually less empty. So therefore you don't fill yourself with a lot of other junk later on, and you can just have a little bit of taste. But that's why you fill yourself up with the most nutrient-dense foods first.
Yeah.
And that too, that's beautiful. And that's so simple. Anybody can do it.
Yes, anybody. That was so simple, right? Like seriously, 5 minutes. I made it up because I wanted to use up some of my ingredients that I felt like have been in the cabinet. So I need to just charge my computer. 1 second.
Excellent. So you guys, this is so easy and delicious. Anybody can do it. And always start off with a salad. Remember, we're focusing on those nutrient-dense ingredients that are going to help heal your body and not hurt your body. And
if you don't have lemon juice, you can also use vinegar, which is a really great ingredient for everyday life, I think. I try to have vinegar in something every day.
And the benefits of vinegar, again, are humongous. They're really great for your gut bacteria. It balances your insulin levels. So if you are going to have something a little bit more carby later on, it can help you blunt that and help you digest. So again, really important.
Yeah, and I personally don't eat salads first. I eat salads last. It's sort of like, I guess I uh, was trained in Italy, like that's how you eat it. But everybody's different. But salad, having like a vinegar or a lemon, helps the food digest at the end of the meal. So I kind of like it like that. But in the U.S., everybody eats salads first. So to each his own, I guess you could say.
Absolutely. And again, it's so delicious, so satiating. And you start off your celebration really respecting the body that God gave us.
Yes. Your body
Most
is
important.
definitely a trust and, something that you want to protect and give it its rights,
And I think this comes up to something that we should discuss is overeating.
Yes, great idea.
Right? Because remember, you guys, no overeating. Overeating, just because it's Eve, it doesn't mean you can overeat. Because overeating can lead to sickness. Because it increases your insulin resistance. It actually, your body can't digest the food properly. So therefore it becomes that food that you just ate now, instead of nourishing your body, becomes inflammatory to your body. So no overeating.
It's so interesting that, you can go one of two ways with food. And there's really sort of like no in between, it's either good or it's not. And, we have a big choice to make by what we put in our mouths, right? So,
and to be a role model. I think this is the best time that we need to step up being a role model. Just because Eid is only a couple times a year, or you have celebrations a couple times a year, that shouldn't give us an excuse just to abuse our body. Because that goes against, that's what really drives me crazy, is that we have these sacrifices that we're doing and all these things that we're doing for God, and but we're destroying the body that He gave us. So, and that too, on this holiday where we're supposed to be praising His name a lot more. And I think we could do the same for like Christmas and Halloween and all these other holidays, is that we shouldn't use them as an excuse to not to disregard for our body.
Well, it almost feels like because it's a holiday, we give ourselves this out to kind of go to town with whatever we're eating. But I don't think what we realize is that, that actually is so detrimental to our bodies. And you can survive on little food if it's nutrient dense. That's something I think in America we really have to wrap our brains around, is that more is not always better.
No, absolutely. A little bit goes a long way.
Yeah, more is not better. Bigger is not better. It's quality, density of nutrients, like you just mentioned. We have to get smarter about, and I know people stress because they have lots of people to feed and big families, but there's a Muslim tradition that that don't worry about the quantity, right? There's barakah or blessing when people come together, and there's always enough for everybody. I've witnessed that so many times where I think, oh my God, I don't have enough food for everybody. And then there just is. So,
and this is something that I really want to emphasize, because specifically around holidays, there's a lot of processed carbs.
Yes.
Those processed carbs are going to destroy you from the inside out, period. Like there's no ins, outs, ifs, buts, whatever it is. There's nothing else about that. It's just going to destroy your body. And the more these processed carbohydrates actually go in your brain and inhibit your leptin, and your leptin is a hormone for satiation. So basically what happens is that, yes, we're like, oh no, this is cheaper. But just because this food is cheaper doesn't mean that you're actually going to eat less of it. You're actually going to eat more of it. So you end up spending the same, because here, yes, you're spending less money on the food quality, but you're going to be spending more money on food quantity.
And
when you spend your money on nutritious foods, you actually, yes, it may be a little bit more on the food quality, but you spend less on the food quantity.
Yeah. Right. And I know everybody's nervous about the money and how much is being spent, but again, like that's what you said is just summarizing everything up about, how we how we need to look at things, and just try it. Just try it. You know, and have everybody bring something, you know, nutritious and healthy this year and see what happens, you know. Of course, if you're socially distancing and all of that, I don't know where everybody is and how they're doing it, but
yeah, everybody has different guidelines right now. But either way, taking care of your body is the best way to start.
So let's go into the lamb marinade mix.
Yes.
So this is something that you can do to tenderize the lamb for like the night before. The night before that you, let me just move this camera. The night before that you are going to cook this lamb, okay? So we've got yogurt. Yogurt is going to help tenderize this meat. There's like a lactic acid in it, so that's going to help break down the meat. So what I do is put everything in a blender cup. Food processor might be fine, but they're kind of not very high, so sometimes that doesn't work. The juice of about half a lemon. I've got a small one and another one that had some life in it. So about a half an onion. So just like roughly chop that up. I've got 2 to 3 garlic cloves I'm putting in there. Some cumin. I don't really measure too much, but I'll give you guys all the measurements pretty soon. About a teaspoon. I've also got some red chili flakes. You can ground chili or paprika. I would do paprika, but I like mine a little spicier. So if you don't want that, but you want some color, do the paprika, smoked paprika. The important one here is the turmeric. So I do a little more. I do 2 teaspoons of this, and some black pepper, and Himalayan salt, which is over here. About, you know, a pinch of that. And then some parsley or cilantro. So I'm just going to take this fresh from here. About, you know, 10 sprigs or so. Just wash it up. And then just throw it in. You can do cilantro as well, or instead of the parsley. And then I'm just going to put this on the blender. And Medea, you can come back while I blend this because it's going to be a little bit noisy.
Excellent. Here, I can mute you. So again, did you see the ingredients that she used? Turmeric, super anti-inflammatory. They have actually said that it lowers the overall interleukins and all of those inflammatory cytokines, just turmeric. They actually did a study where turmeric in and of itself can, the turmeric has these antiviral properties. And it's a natural compound, it's like from curcumin. And curcumin is this natural compound that's found in turmeric and can lower the overall transmission and can eliminate certain viruses. The study just came out July 17th. So again, super key, super important. Then she added all those cumin, anti-inflammatory, antiviral. Really delicious.
Okay, so here it is. And you can add a little more turmeric because it just gives more color. This isn't that, you know, yellow, but you, like I said, you can add more of the turmeric. But the smell is so amazing. I really smell the cumin and the turmeric and the garlic. So what I do is I get my big pan of diced lamb. You can do this with chicken too. Chicken, it tastes really good, but we're talking about lamb. So put it in a pan, pour this over the meat and cover it and put it in the fridge overnight. The next day, when you're ready to cook it, you will just remove the marinade, discard the marinade, and then bake the meat in the oven, or you can grill it. That's another option. But basically, it's going to make the meat really, really nice and tender and soft. And then the meat will have infused that garlic and turmeric and cumin and all the spices that I use. So go to town with that. This is a favorite. It's so easy. Look, it took me literally 2 minutes to do that. 2 minutes. Right?
2 minutes. So easy.
Yeah.
And now you have this meat that's going to be cooking in that delicious or aromatic seasoning.
And I just read an article online yesterday or the day before. It was about how the fermented foods like kimchi and sauerkraut and yogurt were all these, health boosting, gut healing, and protection against a lot of illnesses. So I think try to incorporate some of those into your EID menu plan for everybody. I think yogurt is probably the easier one unless you have a bunch of kimchi or sauerkraut, but yogurt is probably the easier one to incorporate somehow. You can make a salad dressing.
Yes, in my house we do it. I add it in salad dressings. I sneak it into I use it as a condiment. Adding, I have some sauerkraut on the side with my meat, with my vegetables, and then that really, it's like so delicious. And now you're adding those probiotic foods to your overall meal.
Yes. And it's just, these are not things that I went out to buy specially. I had these in my pantry. I have this stuff. This is like my regular stuff. I didn't even do anything too fancy. I know Eid is a very special holiday, and we do want to, do something different than the norm. But the focus is really on the celebration, and the highlight of the meal is usually the lamb. And people are vegetarian. There's ways around it. You can do a lot of this in the vegetarian, with substitutes.
Lentils and stew. Oh, yum.
Yeah. So the last thing I'm going to do is a lamb marinade with olive oil. I just touched this rosemary plant. Can you guys see this? Can you guys see this plant? This is my rosemary plant. And the aroma is it's like medicine in the air. And lamb loves rosemary. So make sure if you're going to make a lamb marinade with like an olive oil marinade. I didn't put this in the yogurt on purpose, the yogurt marinade on purpose. It just goes really well with the olive oil marinade that I'm going to make, or oil marinade. I'm actually out of my olive oil, like I said. My zeytin Turkish olive oil that's in our store, I used it all, so I'm going to have to do something different for the moment because I refuse to buy any other olive oil at the moment. So I've got this rosemary. If you don't have rosemary, you can use bay leaf, but don't do both. But I think rosemary is a better option. I'm just going to rinse this. Okay, and you want to dry it really well because you don't want to stick any water in this. Okay, so just dry it off really well. Again, this is going to take you literally like 2 minutes to prepare, if that. So we are going to do another oil. Let's say this is olive oil, but I'm out of mine. Okay. And again, very basic ingredients, guys. A little bit of black pepper, Himalayan salt, not too much. And now you can do lemon juice or you can do vinegar. So I like to do like a white vinegar for this one, or a red vinegar. I have this one is a red radicchio. You can play around with these vinegars, actually. This is a white balsamic, and this is a pomegranate. You could do apple cider vinegar. I like the red ones. It just looks really nice with the lamb. But because I'm leaning towards balsamic, I'm going to use the white one in this one. But again, it doesn't really matter. And all the ratios are actually on my website, so you can look this recipe up on my website. Now, the beauty of this is if you're cooking for just 2 people, for example, you don't have to make a really big batch of this. If you're making a whole roast, like Costco, for example, sells the halal lamb roast. I always get that. I have a great recipe on my website for that marinade. And I put garlic into the lamb, but you could also put that garlic into this marinade. I'm not going to do that right now. But basically what I'm trying to say is that whether you're doing it for 2 people or 20, you just go by, how big is that roast or how big are the pieces or what the amount that you have. and kind of eyeball it and cover the meat in it. Now, I don't mean like if the roast is this high that you cover, that much marinade. What I mean is that the marinade is actually, rubbed into it or on top of it. It just has to hit that meat and then, stay in there for a while. So really, this took, a few seconds to make. Actually, my grandmother from Puerto Rico used to make this recipe with beef, and I loved it so much. Every time my mom would make it, the house just smells amazing. And so I tried to do this with lamb, and it had the same effect. So it's just so simple, guys. And if you don't have vinegar, use lemon. If you don't have rosemary, use bay leaf. Change it up, but you will get a good result. And do this overnight. Put it in, cover the meat, put it in the fridge. Next day, take it out, discard the marinade, roast it, or grill it. Again, very versatile, super easy. Each one of these recipes took me like 2 minutes each. Took longer to explain them than to actually make them. Right, Medea?
So delicious and so easy.
Yeah, super easy. Super easy.
Super easy. Like, yeah, that's an understatement. Super easy.
Get the kids involved. Let them, get excited about Eid the next day. Mom's really busy. Let them help you the night before, and then the next day they'll probably want to try it because they helped make it. These are such simple
ways.
Yeah. So
to really help with that. Awesome. Oh my gosh, I got lots of stuff. Yes. So what we're gonna do today is, we know that the protein and the vegetable are super important. But then this is a time, and I know specifically in the Desi culture or in the Indo-Pak culture, and everywhere, we all like to splurge a little bit, do something special that's out of the norm.
Yeah.
And it's okay to do that, right? We should still have fun with the foods, but again, concentrating on those vegetables, clean protein, and healthy fats are really important. Concentrating on healthy fats. There you go. I didn't know for sure. Okay.
You on the full screen.
Okay, here, I'll put it on myself on full screen. So those healthy fats are really important for overall health and well-being. And so we always got to start with the vegetables, the clean protein, the healthy fats, and then go to more fun foods. And this is where you can still have fun and be nutrient dense. So in my house, I'm going to shift this up here. Please add yourself to the screen at any time. But I'm going to open this up. I've gotten actually my skillet here. So I'm all ready for you and prepared right here in my kitchen. And this is just a ceramic pan. Again, no chemicals on this. So I take this everywhere I go. And I'm gonna start turning this on, just keeping it warm, start cooking it. So it'll be nice and hot, just to give it a nice wipe. And then I'm gonna push this aside as it continues to heat up. So we're gonna make first halva puri. And if you guys aren't familiar with this, halva puri is sort of a Swedish with some chane, which I've already made the chane here on the side. So we do it with the chane, and then you eat it with the Swedish, and then it's usually done with like a fried bread. So really, if I look at it at the actual conventional standpoint, there's no nutritional value in any of that. And it actually is because the halva is all sugar and just carbs and processed carbs. Basically, will just raise your insulin level, make you sick, and not good. So we're gonna talk about your foods here. And we're gonna first start making the halva. Okay, the halva. So here in a pan, actually we're gonna start with the puri first because I can quickly show you how to do those. So I have, in this cup I have, instead of the flour, I use something called arrowroot flour, which is basically, it's another starch, but it's a root vegetable starch. And here, again, delicious. You can buy them at any of your local grocery stores. And I mixed it with some salt and some cumin. And then I will go ahead and add that here to your so as we have people joining us today. So then we have so that was your two cups of arrowroot flour. Thank you. Love you. And then 1 cup of coconut milk. So again, here we have things that none of these are going to raise your blood sugar. I have 1/2 cup of almond flour. I've got 2 eggs. And that is it. Like, that's the easiest thing ever, right? So here we're going to go ahead. I'm going to mix this all together. And I'm going to make 1 or 2 here for you guys. I'm just mixing. If you look, it's a little starchy because the arrowroot, the root vegetable, look, I'm going to get it all over my clothes. So we're going to mix this together. Mix, 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 mix. Mix, 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 mix. And then again, you can make the, you can control the thickness of the batter. And so if you would like the batter thinner, you can add more coconut milk. If you would like the batter less thick, then you can add a little bit less. So this is what the batter looks like, you guys. Super easy. And instead of like booties where you actually have to go and, make them and then bail them out, which is basically, this is like the easiest thing in the world. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of oil to this pan. And I'm going to show you how easy this is. So this is already starting to cook. And you can make this as thick or as thin as you like it. Here, let's see if we can move it here. So if you like it thinner, you can make it thinner. We like it a little bit heavier. So I don't have the utensil that I could do this with. But quickly you see how easy and delicious that is. And you just sort of pour it out. If I don't burn myself, just pour this out on this pan here. It's mixing together. There we go. And that is really super easy. And you can make this thinner. You can make these thicker, however you would like it. But now this will turn into a delicious booty. So here I'm going to show you what this looks like down here. So this is, again, I make them, right now I'm not using the right utensil. Totally forgot about that utensil. But I thin it out a little bit more. You can, again, add some more coconut milk to this to thin it out a bit more. So you get it the consistency that you want. And then add it back in here. Now we could just probably pull this out. It fell inside. So now, as you see, I just basically add a little bit more coconut milk. And now we can decrease the temperature on this a little bit. But now it'll just really turn into a beautiful booty. Oh, delicious. And so you don't even need the bread because of the fact that you have this. So I'm going to put this aside here and show you what these look like. So you can control the thickness of this. So this is obviously, they're not the most prettiest, but you can control the thickness of these and so delicious. This one over here on this side is a little bit prettier. I'm gonna flip that around. I'll move this aside. And here now, look how beautiful that is. So this is a puri. So now this, you can even make it thinner, thicker. Remember, it was 2 cups of arrowroot, half a cup of almond flour, one cup of coconut milk, and then you can add a little bit more depending on what you really like. So this is the puri. You can add a little bit more oil to make it, you know, a little bit more delicious. Here we go, just some avocado oil that I just used. And that's just gonna cook like so. And did you see how easy that was to cook? And this is the recipe that I use for naans, that I use for basically everything. And I make these really, sometimes in my family also, we like them thicker. Some people like them really thin. So when you make them really thin, you can spread them out. And also then even just in a little bit of oil, you can just even fry them. But if you see, I just added like a spray of oil, and check this beautiful creature out. Look how beautiful that is, you guys. This is the best puri. This can be used for naan. This can be used for everything. So on your Eid days, instead of choosing the high carb foods, choose this. Okay. So that is the recipe for the naan, for the puri. I'm going to clean this off here. Move this a little closer to myself. And then now I want to show you what the halwa looks like. So I'm going to move this. Let's show you what the halwa looks like. The halwa, I love, let's decrease the temperature down a little bit here to keep it a little warm. So for the halwa, what we're going to do is we're going to use ghee. Now the benefits of ghee are tremendous. So a lot of people are like, well, what about for people who are food sensitive to you know, your milk? Ghee actually is clarified butter that it takes all the lactose and the casein, that all things a lot of people are sensitive to. It really removes that from it. And now you get the delicious ghee. Again, if you're going to be looking for ghee, I want you to make sure that it's clarified butter, that it's from pasture-raised cows. There's a lot of ghee out there that is from these just conventional cattle. And then we're going to add, I have my cardamom. So the cardamom here, delicious. We're going to add this cardamom. And let this toast a little bit just to get the delicious flavor out of the cardamom. Wrong one. Okay. And then, oh my God, I wish we had smell-o-vision here. This is so delicious. So delicious. Okay, but you're like, okay, we get the fact now. Now what do you do? Now what I do is easy. I add in, instead of the halwa, we're going to actually add in some almond flour, some crushed walnuts. So do you see how they're nutrient dense? We can toast these just a little, just so they brown a bit. Super delicious. So now instead of the halwa, we are using almonds, nuts, and we talked about all of the benefits of those foods in the last previous videos. We're going to add a little bit of salt here. I'm going to add some coconut milk to this. And now you'll see it sizzle. And remember, we talked about coconut milk. You want to make sure that it's like the one that we use that does not have the guar gum in it, and it's organic, and it's just plain coconut milk. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of water. And you can add a little bit of water. You can add some more, just a little bit, just to really mix that, to thicken it up. Oh, delicious. This halwa, oh my gosh. But you're like, wait, where's the sweetness to it? We need the sweet. Again, you can add a little bit more water. So you just want them to keep on adding a little bit of water, and then you can add more coconut milk if you really like it that way. My kids like it like less coconutty and a little bit more thinner. And now I'm using nutrient-dense ingredients to create this delicious halwa. Oh my gosh, look how delicious that is, you guys. So look, now tell me, no one be able to tell that this is not the traditional halwa. And you're like, okay, but where's the other stuff here? So now I'm gonna add some raw organic honey to the mix. Again, I eyeball things depending on how much sweetness you really like. So we're gonna increase that, and that is it. That's like the easiest, most nutrient-dense halwa that you can ever have. Like seriously, like this is so delicious. And to garnish it, right? So then we can add a little bit of raisins to that halwa. And then you can add some coconut to the halwa. Look at that coconut. Oh, yum. We're just going to mix that in there. And this halwa is done. Done, done, done. I'm going to shut off the heat here. And this is done, you guys. Oh my gosh. So I'm going to add this to, like, look at this. Oh, all of that delicious halwa. Yeah, obviously we're not going to eat all of this. Because remember, this was like an entire cup of nuts. And yes, it's a little bit, you're like, no, but this is a little bit more expensive. But guess what? Just like we talked about, you only need a little bit to go a long way. A little bit will go a long, long way. And now I'm going to add our halwa. Here's some puri here. Right. And check this out. We got a dish for the champions. We got the halwa, we got the puri. Check that out. So all you do is you just basically mix it together here, here. Oh my God. Now I have the best halwa puri on this planet. So I'm gonna put this down here. So we're going to go ahead and then now go ahead. So I wanted to just show you how delicious this halwa puri looks. This is more of a like, so I'm gonna move this aside here. So delicious halwa puri. Oh, delicious. And now the last thing that I want to show you is dessert. Because people are like, Dr. Medea, we need dessert. You're talking about sugar. Don't do that. Don't do this. Don't do that. But we need our sugar. So honey. Remember, we talked about maple syrup. We talked about honey. We talked about all of these delicious, delicious foods and sweetener, different types of sweetener. So in my house, we love brownies. Brownies are delicious. So we're gonna go ahead and make some brownies here. And so for brownies, but you're like, wait, what about, but guess what? This is made out of almond flour brownies. So the kids, and what I like to do with these brownies is either I can put them in cupcake molds, and in those cupcake molds, I'll put like a happy Eid Mubarak. Super simple, I know. And the kids are like, yay! And everybody that I've done this, so I've done this with parties. I cook for at least, like, I've even done these cupcakes for 200 plus 500 people. Actually, 500 people I once did these cupcakes for. And 200 mini muffins of this cupcake recipe, 200 is like $5. So this is super cheap, cost effective, and still you can still enjoy the deliciousness. Okay. So let's go ahead. So we have 1 cup of almond flour here. I'm making a small batch here. So 1 cup of almond flour. Then the other thing we have is 3 eggs. Half a cup of cocoa powder. And remember, you want to try to use the raw organic cocoa powder. Here is half a cup of avocado oil. half a cup of honey. Actually, this one is 2/3 cup of honey. 2/3 cup of honey. 1 teaspoon baking soda, 1/4 teaspoon baking soda, 1/4 teaspoon salt. That is it. Now we're gonna mix this together. And this is the brownie recipe. Again, nutrient-dense ingredients. So the kids feel like, oh my gosh, I'm getting a special treat. And this can turn into cupcakes. You could do everything with this recipe. I don't have a final product here to show you, but I will post it in the comments below. So remember to share with your family and friends. And we're just going to add this to our tray. And you can just bake this. So easy, so delicious. I swear, I kid you not, I've been doing the same recipe for years. And this has been a crowd pleaser. Every party I go to, I'm always taking my brownies. And these brownies, again, you can add some, we're gonna add some walnut on top to garnish. We're gonna stick this in the oven. And you can even do like, if you take cocoa powder, chocolate chips, and then you can easily add delicious, whatever you wanted to add in your brownies, you can go ahead and add in the brownies. So simple. So we're just gonna add this, like the walnuts. Who doesn't love walnuts? And again, the omega, all your delicious fats in this nuts and the seeds. And again, you're gonna eat a little bit. A little bit goes a long way. And then and then especially to make it super special, sometimes you can get all natural, non-GMO, organic sprinkles. And you can add that to the top of these and really make it super special. But they're clean, they're organic, they're all natural. And I'll stick this in the oven and really will come out beautiful. So these two dishes I just did in front of you within minutes. We just did the halwa and I had the chane, and then we made this delicious puri that you can even fry for a little bit longer and you can enjoy this. I'm gonna add you back to the stream. Isn't that easy?
You get so excited about cooking.
I love this stuff. Because remember, I cook for a family of 8 on a daily basis, and you can go 20 on the weekends.
Somebody said, can I just buy food and not cook all of these? Well, maybe you need to send the recipes to whoever you asked to cook the food.
Yes, that's such a great idea. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Like eating out, people are busy. But I think if you talk to people like restaurants or, I mean, I don't know, some people have private chefs or people who cook for them or cater, whatever, to ask them to use different oils. For example, I think like you can have really fantastic food, but then it gets ruined by the type of oils they use. But if you
absolutely,
I don't want canola oil used in my food, can you please use XYZ? Just ask. But yeah, can you tell everybody, because we probably have people watching who don't know what a puri is or what halwa is. Can you please explain that? Because I remember the first time I went to Eid gatherings in the Indo-Pak community, and I was like, okay, for all of my life celebrations, it's always been lasagna, pastas, and this was a totally, exotic experience for me. So
yes, so halwa is like a Swedish. They usually use like, I think, sorghum, or they use like a different type of wheat to make that, like a creamed wheat. Like I would describe it to basically like a sweet creamed wheat. And because wheat causes a lot of problems and it's inflammatory, a lot of people are sick because of that.
Yeah.
I try to not incorporate wheat into my daily routine. Plus, on top of that, it's just very processed. It's sugar. They add a lot of sugar to that. And actually, to tell you the truth, it takes longer to cook than this does. So it's like, this is super easy.
Yeah.
But then a puri is like a fried tortilla. So here what I've done is I've basically took that fried tortilla out, just like drizzled it with some avocado oil. Used, instead of wheat flour, I used arrowroot flour. And that's what I did with the cake. Instead of wheat flour, I used almond flour. So you're just basically still having the same delicious things. You're just swapping out more nutrient-dense ingredients. And I think we have been so stuck in the, like, we're so stuck with our rut with the sugar and the wheat. Like, we don't really go out of our sugar, wheat, rice world. And there's so many different things. There's so many different delicious opportunities out there that you can do to substitute.
There was one recipe I saw on a travel show. I want to say it was Anthony Bourdain, but I could be wrong. But I'm pretty sure it was him, and he was in either Tunisia or Morocco. And I will never forget this episode because he went to this fantastic fish restaurant, and it was right by the sea, and it looked like, here you would find that like to be pretty fancy and expensive. But later on in the show, because I kept my attention, later on in the show, he had gone to another restaurant where they were having like dessert. They went for tea and dessert, or maybe it was breakfast even. I don't know, something like really simple. Anyway, I'm just remembering the food, okay? But anyway, the sweet that they had was strawberry, pine nuts, and honey. And that is packed with nutrition.
Oh, delicious.
And it looked so fantastic. I went ahead and made it at home and like made a recipe for it on my website, because I thought, why does everything have to be wheat, rice, sugar? Like,
I think that's where our cultures are. There's thousands of foods out there to explore, to enjoy.
Yes.
And our cultures, if you look at what Turkey, all these cultures had fresh fruits and vegetables.
That's the dessert.
Exactly.
Fruit. That's nature's sugar, nature's nectar is the figs from the tree when they're ripe. And I know that's sort of like, people think that's a utopia. They think, oh, well, that's for other people, or that's if you're a millionaire living on. No. No, it's not. Actually, that's the stuff that is the most basic and almost free if you think about it. If you grow that stuff, or you make friends with your neighbors who grow. I know here in Chicago, people are growing fig trees in this climate.
Wow.
So there's stuff. If you look for it, you will find it.
If you look for it, you will find it. And it's all about
on that arrowroot powder. I knew about it because I'm in the food world, but
I didn't.
For substitutions for your family. So
absolutely, you just make nutritious substitutes.
Right. So do you want to take some questions? Because
let's go ahead and take some questions here.
Alternative for rice in biryani. That is a fantastic question.
So rice in and of itself isn't terribly bad for you, but the rice that we use is white rice, which has been like pulverized and it's been processed to an extent. It's no longer really a whole grain. It's that brown rice, but I know a lot of biryanis don't use brown rice, but that even using brown rice instead of that can really make the biryani go a long way. Another thing that's really terrible with biryani is that all the coloring that people use.
Yes, artificial color.
Artificial coloring. I cannot go to any restaurant because I know that, unless you really ask, is there any artificial coloring in here? Plus the oils that they use are always terrible, so that's why I don't go out and eat. But they use tons of artificial colorings to make that colorful biryani.
Right, I've seen it. I've seen it being made, and I thought, oh my God. Think about it. They're thinking of feeding hundreds of people. So they're not going to use
saffron. Saffron or turmeric.
There's something else called safflower.
Oh, really?
Yes, you can find it at Middle Eastern stores. It's hugely inexpensive compared to saffron, and it's abundant. It comes in like little plastic containers. I've always seen it there. And that's what you can use as an alternative. It's a cheaper alternative to saffron.
Cheaper, yeah.
It's still real.
It's still real. And right now the coloring that we use, the oils that we use, the type of rice we use, and I mean, they even say that there's a lot of arsenic in the rice. So again, try to stick with like the organic.
There's fake rice out there.
And even fake rice. I know, I was just seeing that. That's crazy.
So yeah, you really have to pay attention. You know, if you think you're too busy to figure this stuff out, wait until you get sick. You're going to be too busy to be sick.
Absolutely.
Right? And then what? And then what do you do? What do you do?
Yeah.
So
and remember, a little bit goes a long way.
Right.
An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. This is we want to make sure that we take care of these bodies.
Yes.
And if you think that, oh my God, can we just get someone else to do it? We really got to learn these. If you want somebody else, use your recipes, use your oils. And unfortunately, in the Muslim world, when you go out to restaurants, it's all junk. Like they're using the wrong oils. 99% of the places are using wrong oils, colorings in their chicken 65s and all these places.
It's survival, you know, and I think we have to change the paradigm to, instead of survival, being in a thriving mode. We have to. That's why I always tell people, please support those producers who are doing the best things, you know, like my olive oil that I just showed, the Turkish olive. These kinds of people are bringing a service to you. They're bringing health to your doorstep.
We need to support them.
You need to support them, because if not, they go out of business and they go away. And they say, well, people weren't interested in a good product. And then people complain that there isn't anything good. So you have to support things now so that your kids can afford those things to be in abundance and be cheaper. Because a lot of good things are expensive now. But if they are the norm, then the prices will drop. But we need to invest in that now.
We have to invest in that.
And all this other stuff that gets us nowhere, invest in good food that will be better for your children's future. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Our webinars, right? We always have our soapbox at the end of it.
No, we do, because it's so true. Because remember, what do celebrations come with?
Yes.
Junk and sugar and flour. We literally are stuffing toxin poison down our children's mouths all day long, all night long, in the name of celebration or Eid. Which, like, that's ridiculous. We gotta, you talked about soapbox. Like, let me tell you about that. Like, we have to stop it. There's so many other alternatives to sugar,
right.
Which is like honey and maple syrup and coconut sugar and molasses. The list goes on and on.
Yes. I mean, we shouldn't feel sick, you know, after a holiday. We shouldn't like go, oh, I can't move, and you know, it's like Thanksgiving. I mean, what does everybody say? I can't get off the couch. You know, it's not a rite of passage. We don't have to do that to ourselves.
No, we don't.
So Samina is asking, are there any good cheeses? I have some answers.
Yeah, no, I love in my house if we do cheese. Sometimes I know I have a sensitivity. So if you have a sensitivity, then I would try to avoid. But then once you've healed your gut, when you add stuff back in, raw cheeses are best. Raw, pasture-raised, organic cheeses, the best. And then also from those with like goat cheeses and sheep cheeses, again, are different ones.
Amazing. Those are so tasty too. And you can find them. I mean, I just look around at the Mediterranean, Middle Eastern markets, and you will see them, like usually in a deli section. Sometimes you have to ask for it because maybe they don't have a lot of it, you know, but they will have the raw, not the raw, but like the goat feta, or you know, there's some different Turkish cheeses they'll import here. So you got to look around, and they're really good. Just make sure nothing's processed. If it's
absolutely
from abroad, doesn't matter, you know, you got to really ask. But usually those fetas are pretty good because they don't have those fillers in them, right?
That's exactly what you like read my mind.
Because I'm a cheese girl. I love my cheese. I love it. So
excellent, you guys. Well, Eid Mubarak for all of you guys who celebrate. And remember, you can use all these things apply to any holiday you choose to celebrate. And so happy celebrations, but you got to do it in a gut healing, nutrient dense, insulin resistance balancing way. So focus on tons of veggies, clean protein, and healthy fats. Use all the amazing tips that Yvonne taught you to really get those super nutrient dense, immune boosting properties in every bite you take.
All right, you guys, we're going to keep taking your questions. So if you continue to watch this after the broadcast is over, just leave your question in the comment section below and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. So we'll see you guys next week. Bye. Assalamualaikum.